So our streak snaps at 5 straight winning days, and the Celtics streak snaps at 3 straight games in the Eastern Conference Finals. Heat pull it out. We're going to have a Heat Nuggets Finals. We'll touch on that a bit today, and then obviously later this week we'll go more in depth on that Game 1 coming up on Thursday. Not an ideal day in baseball. Get a couple of losers, snap that winning streak, John, but it's been a pretty damn good week and a lot of spots to get it back today.
Yeah, Astros stole the bag yesterday. That was the game we needed for a break-even day. After being down early in the game, they took the lead. And, we rarely bet favorites, but we bet when we saw value. We'll say it real quick. Why'd we see value there? And here is why. We had said Ryan leads Major League Baseball in ERA, which is great. But his last 4 starts, he hadn't completed 6 innings. That means that bullpen's going to be in there at some point, and sure enough, that's what happened. Astros come back, got a couple off Ryan, finish the job off the relievers, take a 5-4 lead, only to give it up 2 out in the 9th. Those hurt. Those are the ones that hurt. But besides Ryan, like I said, not being as dominating as the stats, you had no Buxton in the lineup. Twins were ice cold. Astros red hot. Twins won 2 of 3 early in the year in Minnesota, while Stros swept the series last year. Figured they owed them one. Just let that one get away. So when we bet a game, we have reasons. This is the bottom line, guys. We saw value there, didn't get it. Saw value at Nationals. If you were with us yesterday, we broke down the reasons why. Similar today, but a little different. There's a bigger pitching mismatch today when you got Gonsolin against Irvin. So the line is even higher, though. It was just on Instagram we were talking about. Line right now is up to 300. So let's explain what 300 means. Okay, 300 means you're going to have the Dodgers win 3 times for every time the Nationals would win 1. So if we break that down, if you're looking at 162-game season, as we talked about last year, so the Nationals, the Dodgers would have to win 120 of, let's say, of 160 instead of going to 162. So we're just trying to put an idea in your head. Obviously, there's 162 games in the season. So 120 and 40 is 3-1. That's your break-even point. So, again, like I was just on Instagram, and we had the pick vault out there. Sorry, but I love to make fun of him. He's got a thing out there that he laid 210 yesterday on the Dodgers. He didn't. First of all, that's a lie. I took 205 yesterday. There was at no time in the world that you could have laid 210. You laid at least 230 on that game. But beside that being the fact, don't know what you're bragging about. When you're a capper giving your clients 2 and change favorites, there's nothing to brag about. But again, so you're lying and you're bragging about giving away 230 favorites. Not much to say. Again, give out the 300 today. You might as well. To give out 300, how many more? If you think, because I had a couple of guys saying, oh, yeah, SBK, who I like, said, yeah, Dodgers should win 75% of their games. Okay, but that's today. 75% would be 3-1. Had other guys saying 85, 90% of the games. These are unrealistic, guys. Just anything can happen. Mistake. Gonsolin, let's remember, started the year on the IL, like he seems to do every year or goes on the IL. Could throw a pitch and come out of the game. This is baseball. This is why you don't lay 4 and 5 to 1s. But again, 3-1 is 120 and 40. Let's keep in mind, Dodgers had an unreal season last year and won a total of 111 games. They're not the same team as last year. We talked about it. Me and Ben been talking about it since the beginning of the season, and we came up with a number of 96. We said take 15 games away. We didn't think they'd be anything worse than that, but take 15 away from 111, you got 96. Going into yesterday's game, they were on pace to win 96. So to get to 120, to get to these numbers, it's just a far stretch. It's when we say it's the dog and nobody, it means there's no way in the world we're laying the favorite, and that's what we'll say about that game, Ben.
Yeah, obviously, for some of you guys watching, the Dodgers did win yesterday. Yes, that minus 230 favorite did win. You would have won your bet, but just always have to think betting 365. And if you guys are tuning into this show every day, you guys are most likely betting 365. So if you're betting that many days a year, have to be able to bet in a way that'll keep you safe. And that's what How to Beat the Bookie is about, teaching you guys how to bet and how to beat the bookie in a sharp manner, not just laying the big favorites, which anyone can go out there and do.
Just give the people a reminder. Last year, Pittsburgh Pirates were not the team they were this year. They went into LA. They didn't win 1 or 2. They swept the entire series. And if you were one of those guys, late 220, then late 260, then late 300, you broke. Your season was wrapped up in that, and right there, and just that one season series. That guys, there's only one way to do it. It's to bet with value. There's no value. You can win games. I'm not saying the Dodgers aren't going to win. You know, guys can't DM me and give me shit. I thought you said the Nationals. Buddy, they were a 205 dog. I'm going to be thrilled if they win that game 38% of the time. 35% of the time, I'm still a winner. But obviously, they're not going to win that every game. That's why they were 205 dog. You guys got to get in your head, just the way I'm trying to explain, that this is, let's say it was this matchup over 162 games. Well, that's what we're betting, over 162 games. When I had my 5-game winning streak, I didn't say, that's it, we're retiring as a winner, and we're never going to bet again. Of course we're going to bet again. And of course there's going to be another losing day somewhere down the road. We'll jump back on the winning streak starting today. But keep in your mind, guys, it's the long term. You're not making one bet for the rest of your life. So pretty much that's it. Think about it. Think about it in 162 games. And then you could say, the way you do it, again, take 108 and divide by 54. That equals 162 games. That'll tell you 2-1. Okay? Take 60% of your games. If one team's going to win 60% of games, that equals $1.50. And you can get a ballpark in your head of well, that seems about right if they played that many times. Thinking about how many games this team's going to win, how many games this team's going to lose. That's why you see when these 200s and better numbers, there's only one real way to go. It's tough to lay that 2-1. First of all, as you get to that big number, you take today's game, for instance. So Circa has got 292. Take back is 260. So the spread gets bigger. The bigger the spread gets bigger, which way do you think they're packing the odds on? Not on the dog, the favorite. They're going to make you pay the extra juice on the favorite side.
That's even the same math as far as parlays. Each leg you add into a parlay, you're separating the odds of what the line should be if you were betting it straight. So say you're betting a 2-team parlay, you bet both of those straight, and you're getting that at minus 110 odds, and you're going to win that. You're going to win your $200. You're going to split, and we'll go 100. And the more legs you add to a parlay, the larger the odds are going to separate from what they should be if you were betting straight, making it harder to win. So same thing with the big favorites there as well.
And not only making it harder to win, to making parlays a sucker bet. And it's that way. I'm just telling you. Yeah, everybody wants to hit the lotto. But you got a better chance of go pick a ticket out instead of driving yourself crazy all day with parlays. One way to bet with value, bet straight, listed pitches on the money line. That's it. Not the run line, not the parlays. Keep that stuff to yourself. Again, I got a lot of guys, they talk about props. I know they're fun, especially if you're a degenerate. And I know there's a lot of you guys, but you're giving away juice when you're betting these props. Pitching line, baseball line, you can be successful at it. Look, at DraftKings, at FanDuel, you guys are laying 20-cent lines and bigger. But if you're able to bet somewhere else, you're laying 110 or taking even, that's a 10-cent line. You're shrinking the book's edge. So that's everything. That's all gambling is shrinking the book's edge. That's the whole thing. That's why we named this business How to Beat the Book.
Last night, John, we had a Game 7 in that Eastern Conference Finals. Miami, they go take care of business on the road after losing 3 straight. I mean, damn, they showed up. Boston maybe just kind of had a little bit of a letdown after the White game winner. They kind of maybe let their guard down after being down 3-0. They even it up. I think they have it in the bag. Going to get a Heat Nuggets NBA Finals. I mean, do you have any immediate thoughts on that, or as far as Game 7 last night?
Yeah, let's start with last night. And you think Tatum twisting the ankle at the first play of the game was a bad omen? Look,
well, I don't know how much that ankle led to Jaylen Brown turnovers, but yeah, that wasn't a good
Brown
sign.
Turnovers. Heat shoot 50% from 3, 14 threes. Celtics were actually under 20% shooting from 3 in the first half. Then came out in the second half and just kept taking them. The same threes that weren't go down in the first half. Outcoached. Look, it was everything that we saw in the first 3 games, and it's just turnarounds that you just usually don't see on the dime like that. talked about it. Said the Celtics would have to shoot 40% from free to cover. They barely shot 20%. But you think, again, Tatum goes down with the ankle. Brown, 8 turnovers, getting outshot from free, getting out coached. Just didn't know if the Celtics could do this. If the Heat could do this after losing that tough Game 6. The momentum swing was huge. It just looked like Celtics thought by forcing the Game 7 that the series was over. Similar to like Portnoy thinking, okay, it's in the bag now. After coming back 3, Celtics sweep. Okay, Celtics at 5. Okay, Celtics at 6. So it just looks like after winning that Game 6, it was a foregone conclusion that they were going to win Game 7. So he had extra different ideas. When we talk about also the whole playoffs, guys, talking about playoff Jimmy. Jimmy Butler was real good last night. What was he? 12 for 28. Not great. There's a guy named Khalid Martin that fucking won that game and was a huge contributor to the whole playoffs. 11 for 16 last night, 26 points, 10 boards. A hell of a job for a role player stepping up as that number 2 with Hero out. And now it looks like they may be getting Hero back. Going to see me miss some time, so it's going to be that ramp-up time. But getting into this Denver series, last 10 meetings, Denver 9-1 straight up and against the spread. The only win Miami got was in the bubble. So outside of the bubble, they're 0-4 against Denver. They got their work cut out for them. Not only is that they get, look, because I had somebody on Instagram come in. It's irrelevant the last 10 games. This is yeah, we give trends every day. Now, obviously, not everyone hits, but for the most part, these are trends that have been working for over 40 years that I've been following. They're trends because they are working. You know, it's like they say it's an old wives' tale. But how did it get to be an old wives' tale? That because it works. You know, put lemon in your water. Hey, now all of a sudden it discovered how much good lemon could be in your water. Anyway, they're trends because they show up. Now, like I said before, if Denver had won 6 of 4, even 7 of 3, you could say, okay, it's 9 of 10 straight up and against the spread, and the only cover was the one in the bubble when the Heat were playing absolutely out of their minds and went on to play the Lakers in the championship. Now, you're going to get right all back to playoff Jimmy. He's got to, especially against Denver, especially at Denver. Denver now, they were second best home team during the regular season. Straight up, Memphis was the best. But now they're the best home team, best record, including playoffs. Denver and maybe Golden State, these teams have a 5-point better home court advantage as far as I'm concerned. Again, I tell you all the time, as important as my bets and as important as the previews are my ratings. Nobody's got better ratings than me anywhere in the world. There's not a computer, not Sagarin ratings, not ESPN. Nobody's got better ratings than me, especially in NBA. And that's why, because I break it down home and away. So real quick for you guys. First look, Miami is 37.0 on the road. Denver, 43.6 at home. That's 6.6. Now, the original number BetOnline put up last night was 6. It was 8 in minutes. That line just flew. That's just a wrong number. 6.5 is the right number, but now we got to add the spot. This is a 2-point full spot here. This is 8 days extra rest for Denver. I mean, they've been off forever. They've been already working on game plans for both teams. Now they'll start implementing it today for the Heat. You think the Heat are going out back to work today? This is celebration day after last night. Can't see them coming with anything. Going into game 1 at Denver, best home team, rested. They own the matchup. Whatever the number is, it's Denver. There's no way I could bet the Heat if it was a double-digit game. So that's why I'm just explaining. Forget about what the rating is. Well, I don't want to say that's just your starting point. This is a 2-point spot. Always remember how important the spot is. Ben talked about the spot yesterday. Atlanta Braves were coming off a Sunday night game against the team that knocked them out of the playoffs the year before, the Phillies. They were traveling coast to coast, Atlanta, all the way to Oakland, okay? East Coast to Southeast to the West Coast. Just the whole spot. You had a pitcher that hadn't pitched in 1,000 days in Soroka. The spot belonged to Atlanta. So the spot was huge. You just can't go by the numbers. But look, I just couldn't pull the trigger because Oakland had been horrible. All the numbers,
beyond horrible.
1.7 runs per game, last in hitting, second to last in scoring runs. Everything, 11 straight game losing, 11 losing streak. Hadn't beat the Braves in I don't know how long. Nothing else said, but the spot, as Ben explained it, belonged to Oakland because it was such a bad spot for Atlanta. So that's why this is a 2-point spot. Okay. Some spots are heavy weighted. Some spots are just an edge. There's an edge, there's an advantage, there's a lean. That spot last night was a huge advantage, and this spot for Denver coming up in game 1 is a huge advantage.
Huge advantage. I mean, I make this number close to 10.5 with the spot in the series. I think anything under 10 is worth the lay in this game 1. I mean, Denver, talk about having unlimited rest here coming into this. Not to mention the home dominance, the matchup dominance. I mean, everything pays into their favor there. Just a series read as a whole, though. I mean, this Miami Heat team, very similar to this Lakers playoff run where, yes, Jimmy Butler and Bam Adebayo are the guy, but you are getting, random performances, whether it be Caleb Martin, who is the most consistent, kind of like Austin Reeves, but even Kyle Lowry's having a big game. You have, Duncan Robinson having a big 18 points, 9 assists game, and just random role players taking turns, having a good night. And I just don't know if that method is going to get past Denver. Obviously, the Lakers couldn't do it. LeBron and AD, they did what they could. And the role players, you had Austin Reeves having a couple big games. Hachimura had a couple big games. Wasn't enough. And obviously, those matchup trends, the 9 of 10 already favors Denver. But specifically, the way they play style, I mean, just kind of very similar to what the Lakers did. So as a series read, I feel like Miami's not going to have the greatest chance here. Lean to Denver in 5. I think Miami maybe gets one in one at home. Other than that, I think this is kind of going to be a finals mismatch. I expect Denver to take care of the Heat pretty easily in this series.
Yeah, I think the first 2 in Denver are going to be I think they're going to be blowouts. I can't argue with you with your 10 number. I mean, my number says 8.5, but I wouldn't argue with I couldn't take 10 with the Heat. There's no way I want the Heat going for me in game 1. Can they come down off that high and come up with a great game and grab a game against Denver? Sure, they can. I just don't see it because they haven't done it. Again, like I said, 9-1 straight up and against the spread, just the only W coming in the bubble. So they haven't won in Denver in God knows how long. Just don't see it happening now. Now, especially at the end of the season, I think that the Heat could be in. I think they're going to have that letdown that the Lakers had getting past Golden State. Mm-hmm. They think the Heat are going to just have that letdown coming off that game and getting past Boston. It goes back to that famous video of Jimmy Butler saying he'll come next year, we'll get you next year, and they got it. So that's the hump that they wanted to get over. Does it end there? I see it does. If Denver wasn't so bad on the road, and then they were bad on the road, not even doing a good job in the playoffs, except for those last couple of games, I could see them getting swept. But I can't see Heat taking either of the 2 games. I think they're 2 blowouts. I think the first game is double digits.
Yep, I agree with you there. And we can switch it back over to baseball here so you guys can start to get some reads on the games going today. Obviously, later this week, we'll touch more on that finals game 1. So make sure you guys are still tuning in throughout the week. Padres at Marlins, John. First game we have on the card here in the MLB. It's Alcantara. Now, this guy, he's coming off a quality start, allowed 2 runs at Coors. So he was struggling on the road this year, having really bad starts. And the next thing you know, quality start at Coors. Pretty low number for him altogether. I mean, considering the pitching matchup here with Weathers last 2 starts, 9 runs and 11 2/3. Yes, Alcantara is not the same guy he was last year as far as looking like the Cy Young, absolutely lights out, unhittable pitcher. Still a massive pitching edge over Weathers. I mean, even just being a shell of himself. So I make this number a bit bigger here. Would be a lean to Miami. San Diego, they did get the bats going there in that trip to Yankee Stadium. They're 3-3 on this trip right now, scoring 5.3 runs per game. They did win 4 of 7 meetings last year, but lost 2 of 3 at Miami. This game to me is Marlins or no one.
Just give me 1 second, Ben. I didn't. Sorry, guys. I never published our stuff this morning. Holy shit. Just give me 1 second. I want to make sure this post I came to. Okay, we're posted now. So we're a little late today. Alcantara. Every once in a while, there'll be that remnants of what he was last year. He'll have a real nice start, and then he takes 2 steps back. So Look, no question, big pitching advantage over Weathers. We bet against Weathers the last time he was out. We bet on the Nationals in that game. Alcantara this game, definitely with the edge. They're starting to hit, but it's not translating into runs for them, except this last series at the Angels. They swept the series there. They scored 16 runs. They're hitting 314 this week. They hit 298 versus left-handed pitches, but still 27th in the league, scoring 3.76 runs a game and just 3.28 runs per game at home. Florida Marlins, pretty much a pitcher's ballpark. Low-scoring game, definitely give the edge to the Marlins. Just not low enough that I want to lay the price, not knowing what Alcantara shows up. And Padres started to hit a little better. They put another 7 spot on the board in a losing effort, albeit against the Yankees. Let's see if they turn that around. Also waiting for Soto. If there's no Soto, then we could be talking. Soto didn't start Sunday's game, came in as a pinch hitter, questionable. 10 homers, 24 RBIs, 261, leads the Padres in all 3 categories. So we'll wait to see if he's officially in.
Yeah, the crazy stat about Soto and going up against Reyes here, so good to mention. Reyes obviously leading the MLB. I mean, almost hitting 400, but he's also Reyes leads in on base percentage. Second is Soto. I mean, the guy is walking at an incredible rate. So yes, his batting average might not be up there, but he's getting on base with the guy who is leading the league in batting average. So he's doing it all. But next game, Phillies at Mets. Mets kind of dominated this matchup last year. They won 14 of 19, 7 of 9 in New York. Suarez versus Senga, pitching edge to Senga. Last 2 starts, 4 runs, 11 innings, 18 Ks, 8 walks. Great at home, 2-1, 1.57 through 4 starts. And Suarez, 3 starts, 12 runs, 11 innings. Just hasn't quite gotten his rhythm back yet since rejoining the rotation. 2 starts versus the Mets last year, 4 runs in 9 2/3. This is Phillies team with some road struggles. They're coming off that series where they split 4 at Atlanta. This is another division rival right back-to-back, so that's a tough series. They did have the day off in between. And then you have Mets, who just have had road struggles. They're coming back from Coors, but 5-1 their last 6 home games. This is Mets or nobody here, John.
Yeah, Mets play well at home, played well at home last year. Phillies, consistently bad on the road. Even last year, their World Series year, under 500 on the road, as they have been every year since 2012. Again, some teams play better on the road. Some teams play better at home. They just don't play well on the road. Mets play better at home. Put that in together with the pitching advantage, with the way the Mets pretty much beat them up last year in the series. I thought this was a cheap number for this pitching matchup and for the way the Mets play with Phillies playing on the road. I wouldn't mind laying the Mets at this low number.
Then we have Rockies at D-backs. I was kicking myself yesterday for not being on Colorado when they jumped out to that lead, and then I remember why when Coffin gave it all right back up. Yeah, so D-backs ended up coming back. They win that one 7-5. They have now won 3 or 4 meetings this year. Freeland versus Gallen. Now, Gallen just been a different guy at home. 5-0, 0.77 ERA, 47 Ks, 4 walks. Absolutely lights out at home. Not looking to go against that. I do lean to the Rockies in this game. Big number. Freeland's coming off a bounce-back start, 2 runs in 5 innings. He has reverse splits right now, which is kind of weird for a guy who pitches in Coors. Well, it's not even not reverse splits, but I'm considering reverse splits because he's in Coors. Better numbers in Coors. Has been struggling a little bit on the road. 1-3, 4.71. Lean to the Rockies here. It's a big number, but what Gallen's doing at home this season, I see no reason to go against it.
So Freeland's number is just a little deceiving. He had that terrible outing at Texas, and that's really the only reason. He's a much better pitcher on the road. Was much better pitcher on the road last year. So just don't let that one. It's still early in the season. So what is it? In 4 starts, it's skewing his numbers. He's a much better pitcher. He's the Rockies' ace. Hard, as Ben said, real hard to go against this buzzsaw at Gallen at home. But it's got to be the Rockies or nobody. Divisional matchup. This number is crazy. They're 2. You can take back as high as 229 at Circa right now with the Rockies. Would have to be the Rockies and nobody with their ace on the mound. Again, as I said, don't read too much into that road number because it's basically that one beatdown that he took at Texas that we were actually on also. But yeah, they would have to take the number in this divisional matchup or nothing. And then look, Rockies are terrible on the road. Yeah. We've been on Arizona a ton. We're on Arizona pretty much the whole series against the Red Sox. They're a great team. This pitching matchup, I can't get to 240 on my number.
Then we have Pirates at San Francisco. Giants killed them yesterday, 14-4. Giants team red hot right now. They've won 4-5, scoring 8.4 runs per game. They're 11-3 their last 14. Meanwhile, Pittsburgh, they're now 2-7 their last 9. So hot versus cold. Oviedo versus Brebbia, going to be a bullpen game for San Francisco. Oviedo been pretty good lately. 5 runs in 16 2/3. I liked the Pirates yesterday. I thought Rich Hill would give him something. Giants coming back from the trip, and Giants just staying red hot. So not going to go against the Buzzsaw 2 days in a row, even though it's a bullpen game. Giants are no one the way they're playing right now.
Yeah, Giants are red hot. Pirates are not. Pirates looking reverting back to what the Pirates have been. But in a bullpen game, this is a high number. My number can't get there with San Francisco with Brebbia as the opener. He'll be. This is his third. He's been used 3 times as an opener, scoreless in all 3 of them. So he's got a total of 3 1/3, an inning each time, and then an inning in the third and the last one. But that's 1 inning. Yeah, you got to fill up the rest of it with bullpen guys. So the number's too high. But yeah, I don't want no part of the Pirates against the red hot Giants.
Then we have Nationals at Dodgers. Dodgers get it done yesterday, 6-1 win. Gonsolin versus Irvin. Gonsolin been solid. He is coming in on the last 3 starts, 3 runs, 15 2/3, 13 Ks, 6 walks. 1 start versus the Nats last year. He did lose that. Gave up 4 runs in 6 innings. That was one, if you guys remember, Gonsolin, after the All-Star break, had a little bit of a rough stretch. That was that first start after the All-Star break. They lose that one in L.A. Irvin, he has 1 road start this year, 6.1 shutout innings. We'll see if there's any kind of trend there as he gets more starts under his belt. But big number on this game. I know we touched on it at the start. Could only look at Washington with that big price. It's they stole 2 of 3 at LA last year. And really, it was just 1 bad inning that got to them last night. They were right there with them. So lean here to Washington. The bats have been doing well. They have cooled off a little bit these last couple of games. Now just 3 runs their last 2. Is that going to start being a trend? Are they cooling off? Staying away from this one, but no way am I laying that price with LA.
Yeah, 3-1. Let's explain what 3-1 means, guys. 3-1. You've got to win 3 games for every one. You've got to win 120 and 40 out of 160 games to be a 3-1 favorite. Just too much. Even the way Gonsolin's pitching. Don't want to be on Irvin. You just got to trust that the Nationals could come up with a run here or there. 260s a take. It's either Nationals or nobody.
Then we have Rangers at Detroit. Texas gets it done yesterday, 5-0 win. They split 4 meetings in Detroit last season. Texas staying hot. They won 5 of 6, scoring 5.5 runs per game, lead in batting average, lead MLB in scoring this year. Then you have this Detroit team 3-2 on the homestand right now. Perez versus Fado. Fado, 2 of his 4 starts been quality starts, coming off of one against the White Sox. And then you have Perez. He's coming off a pair of quality starts. He's had some road struggles, 3-1, 4.78. But he had a good start against Detroit last year, 1 run in 7 innings. This is lean to the Tigers in this game. I mean, Fado giving you some decent outings. I'm not loving laying Perez as a favorite on the road. Texas, though, I mean, their bat's getting it done against pretty much everybody. So you slight pitching edge still to Perez. And then you have to ask yourself, is Fado going to be able to get it done against the best offense in the MLB? So lean Detroit in this matchup. Tough to go against that Texas offense.
No, Fado's been good. 2 quality starts his last 4 outings. We had him his last time outing, and that went over the White Sox. He beat Giolito. But Perez now rebounding after a couple of rough starts. Good starts his last couple of times out. Fair number. You've got the top offense in the league at Detroit. Detroit, look, run into that buzzsaw Eovaldi last night. They get blanked again. Tigers now 27th, hitting 229, 28, scoring 3.75 runs per game. Texas is a road favorite. They belong to be a road favorite. And it's about as low as you're going to get as a road favorite with Texas here. I think it's a fair number. No value. I'd have to have a bigger number to want to get on the home dog in this one.
Then we have Guardians at Baltimore. Cleveland gets it done 5-0 yesterday. They've won 3 of the last 4 at Baltimore. No Mullins today for the O's. Quantrill versus Gibson. Quantrill, last 2 starts, 9 runs and 9 2/3. Did have a quality start versus Baltimore last year. And Gibson coming off a pair of quality starts. He's actually been better at home, 2-2, 3.04. Cleveland starting to win some games. They've won 3 of 4, scoring 3.5 runs per game. Baltimore, they've now dropped 3 of 4, scoring just 2 runs per game. Pitching edge, you could argue either side, but based off of who's pitching better right now, definitely Gibson, but Quantrill, definitely a pretty consistent pitcher. Would be a lean here to Cleveland. O's just look like they're going on a little slump. They had that big road trip, took care of business against the two of the top 3 teams in the East, and since they've come back, seems like a little bit of struggles now. And going to be interesting to see if Cleveland's bats start to wake up. This Guardians team, very interested for future prices. For those of you guys who like to bet futures, the Central last year was kind of in a similar little toss-up. It was Minnesota early, and then they just fell off a bridge midway through the season. Cleveland got hot down the stretch of the season, ridiculously hot. Bats need to wake up for them to do that. So if you guys are looking for futures, maybe Cleveland starts to turn it around this next month or so. But as far as this game today, lean to the Guardians.
Another game that I think the number's right. I initially had this number a little higher. Then we saw Mullins probably not going to play, might even be taking a trip to the IL. Gibson, definitely the better pitcher. I'm going to give him the edge right now. We were on Gibson his last time out. We took the W with that one. Fair number right now where it is. Guardians winning, but still not scoring. They just can't hit. 5 runs was an outburst. Yeah. That was like they blew the roof off. Orioles aren't scoring right now either, so figure a low-scoring game. But, I think this number's right where it belongs. I'll stay off this one.
Then Twins at Minnesota, or Twins at Houston. Obviously, the crazy game yesterday. Astros grand slam, take the lead, blow it in the 9th. Twins win it in extras. They have now won 3 of 4 meetings this year. Ryan versus Belak. Ryan definitely gets the pitching edge. 8 of his 10 starts, quality starts. Last 3, 4 runs, 3 earned, 17 innings, 23 Ks with 4 walks. He's been pitching very well. And then Belak gave up 4 runs in 6 2/3 at Milwaukee his last time out. Weird series to get a read on. Came into that obviously liking Astros in game 1. Now here in game 2, have a little bit of a lean here to Minnesota. Not loving it. I just think that pitching edge is a little bit too big for this price right now. Houston, though, still one of the hotter teams in baseball. Have cooled off a little bit. Is that going to continue is the question.
Well, sharp money jumped on the home dog in this one. Overnight on this one was Minnesota 120. This is a big pitching mismatch, but Ryan's had a little bit of a rough time with the Astros in 2 starts. Last year gave up 4 runs in 6 innings, although they did win that game, and gave up 4 runs in 4 innings pitched this year against Houston. So not 2 great starts in his last 2 starts against them, but give him the pitching edge, 8 of 10 quality starts. You had him and Gray, 2 are both in the top 5 in ERA, and that's what's been carrying Minnesota, because it certainly is not their bats. They had an explosion yesterday. Was hurt to get. We just didn't figure them to get that many runs yesterday, so that's what hurt us. But fair number in this game. I can see why the Sharps want the home dog after Houston losing yesterday. We talked about it. Houston lost early in the year in Minnesota. They swept the series last year. They were looking for some payback. Yes, they didn't get it. They'll look to get it back today. We'll look to see if Buxton's back in the lineup. Expect him to be. He sat out yesterday, which made it even more of a reason for us to like Houston. But would be home dog or nobody at the original number. Right now, a solid number. I've got nobody in this one.
Then Angels at White Sox. Angels get the win yesterday. They split 4 in Chicago last year. It's Anderson versus Giolito. Anderson, 2 of his last 3 starts been quality starts. And he's had a decent start against, he got tagged by White Sox last year, 4 runs in 3 innings. As far as Giolito, he's been great at home, 2-1, 2.27 in 5 starts. He was roughed up last time out by the Tigers, 4 runs in 3 2/3. As far as, the teams right now, you have Angels. They snapped their 3-game losing streak after getting swept by Miami with the win yesterday, still just scoring 3.3 their last 4. And this White Sox team, they have now lost 3 straight, hitting just 221 this week. It would be Angels or nobody. Giolito does get the pitching edge. Both teams kind of struggling to hit the bat right now. Just have a hard time making White Sox this big of a favorite. Yes, Giolito's been good, but lean to the Angels.
He's been good, and he's been good at home. 2-1, 2.27 in 5 starts. So got to give him the pitching advantage. The White Sox, though, just like we keep talking about it, it looks like they're going to come up, make that next step up. Look, they've got a decent enough pitching staff with Giolito, with Cease. Lynn's starting to turn the corner. Kopech, they got guys that could turn it around a little bit here. Those bats got to get going, and Robert and Anderson, if they can get going, they can get a little something going. Just every time it says, look, it looks like, hey, they're going to make that next step. They're not making that next step. So numbers maybe a little bit high. Angels are nobody, but just not enough to take the shot. Like I said, Giolito has been impressive at home. Two of the last three starts, though, 4 runs in each of those 2 starts. So a little tough there. Just not enough of an edge, guys.
And we have Yankees at Seattle. Yankees Big 10-4 win yesterday. Judge another 2 homers. He's getting it done. Cortez versus Gilbert. Cortez last 2 starts, 6 runs, 12 innings, 11 Ks, 3 walks. He did have a quality start for Seattle last year, but has a 6 ERA and 4 road starts. Gilbert, 4 of his last 5 starts are quality starts. Only problem is Yankees crushed him last season. 13 runs, 4 homers, and 9 1/3. So pitching edge, I mean, as far as who's pitching better right now, definitely Gilbert. Just the matchup history, very worrisome there. Big number here again. I mean, Seattle on this homestand, they've won 6 of 8, but against Oakland and Pittsburgh. Prior to that, they lost 4 or 5 against Atlanta and Boston. In this AL West, it's Houston and Texas, obviously at the top right now. What Texas is doing with that best ERA in baseball and the best scoring in baseball. Seattle's kind of this third team and struggling to hang out with the top dogs a little bit. So Yankees as a dog price have to lean there in the spot.
Great point Ben gave you guys. Not just not just winning, who you're beating. So beating Oakland, the worst team possibly in baseball history. Now, I believe they've lost the most games in the first 55 games of any team since 1900. This is historically bad. So that's them. And the Pirates, who have just complete turnaround. They were red hot. They're ice cold. So look at those wins. Yankees coming yesterday. No Rizzo. We would have been all over this game. We talked about it, I believe, here on the show. We were on the Yankees, leaning to the Yankees. Wanted to make sure we had Rizzo. Boone had said early in the day. Not actually, he said it yesterday. No, he actually said it Sunday that Rizzo, the wrist is fine, likely be in the game. I said, yeah, but you never know the trip out there. We got to see. He winds up not playing. That's what kept us off. The only winner, Judge, bang. 2 more bangs, and then Robin won.
Ridiculous.
That shot into right field.
Ridiculous.
Just this is the best player in the game right now, getting it done. Hottest player in the game. Have to go with Yankees and nobody in this one. Don't like Cortez, a shadow of himself of what he was last year. But got to give Yankees right now. They're red hot. Mariners winning, but only beating the garbage, the dregs of the league. Not really standing up too well against the other teams. I think the Yankees are worth the play. Again, got to find out about Rizzo. And Bader goes down last night. He's due for an MRI today. So he's questionable. If we're missing those guys, that all bets canceled. But it's Yankees or no one. Again, guys, doesn't mean on the Yankees, it's Yankees or no one. Depends on lineups and the line.
Then it's Brewers at Toronto. This Blue Jays team struggling. They're 3-8 their last 11. They are hitting .309 this week. Pitching's just been struggling. You have this Brewers team come in. They get that win at San Francisco against the Giants in the last game of the homestand. They had lost 3 or 4 in the series, though, scoring 2.3 runs per game. Hauser versus Kikuchi. Hauser, last 2 starts, 11.1 shutout innings against a couple of the better lineups in the MLB, Tampa Bay and the Astros. And then you have Kikuchi going 13 runs, 6 homers in the last 3 starts and 13 2/3. So off of going right now, it's definitely Hauser with the pitching edge. This Milwaukee team won 2 of 3 meetings last year, but Toronto just ice cold. I mean, talk about an underperforming roster. I mean, across the board, whether you look at pitching, hitting, just not winning games. It's not resulting to win. So as far as this game, it's got to be Brewers or nobody. I can't lay Toronto as a favorite, especially without a pitching edge. Yeah,
I'm going to go with Ben. And as we were just saying, not only if you win, but who did you play? Again, Ben just talked about it. So Hauser's shutout innings are coming against Tampa Bay, number 2 team in scoring runs, and Astros, who score 4.63 runs per game when they're on the road. So he's doing it against quality opponents. He's looked good. Kikuchi, he's been ripped up. But Brewers they can't hit. They can't hit lefties. All that being said, though, Toronto not playing good baseball at all. What are they now? 1-6 in their last 7 home games. 3-9 their last 12 overall. Is it? 3-8 in their last overall. Just with I got to give Hauser the pitching edge. Just enough to like the dog in this one.
And we have Reds at Red Sox. How about this Cincinnati team right now, hitting 348 this week? They swept the 3-game series at Chicago, scoring 8.3 runs per game. And then you have this Red Sox team. They won 2 of 3 at Arizona, 2-5 their last 7. This Red Sox lineup typically better at home. This game, Cincy or nobody for me. In the last 2 starts for Lively, 4 runs and 11 2/3 has been solid. And Bayo, 2 of his last 3 starts been quality starts. We'll give a slight pitching edge to Bayo, nothing too drastic. Cincinnati lineup and getting it done right now. And Boston, yes, offense does do better at home, so we'll see if that goes. Like the over in this game. Opened up 9.5 up to 10. I think we're going to see a lot of runs here. These are both pitchers who have been going steady, but I think offenses might get the better of both of them today.
Big difference for the Red Sox home and away. At home, hitting .294, scoring 6 runs per game. So just a much better team, more offensive team, obviously, in the at Fenway Park. Bayo's been getting better and better. He was tabbed as a prospect last year. A little bit rough to start. Control problems. Just keeps getting better and better. I like Bayo. Likely 2 good starts so far. Need to see a little bit more of him. Got to give the pitching advantage to Bayo. Got to give, as good as the Reds have been hitting, got to give the Red Sox the hitting advantage as good as they hit at home. But that equals up to what the number is, and that's right around where it should be, right around that 160 number.
And KC at St. Louis. How about Kansas City yesterday? Bullpen game. Mike Myers get the long relief. Had a perfect.
Crazy. Is that crazy? How red hot the Cardinals were. One of the worst, the second worst team in baseball, I think we could say clearly. Going to come with a bullpen game, and they shut out the Cubs. Let somebody ever tell you they got a lock. Smash it, bet the house on it, bet the rent on it. I'm sorry, Ben. I had to jump.
No, it's a crazy game. And today it's Greinke versus Mikolas. Greinke, as you guys know, can't bet him on the road. If you needed a better sign, his road ERA is 6.66. The Devil's telling you, no, don't do it. As far as Mikolas, he's been pretty good. 3 straight quality starts, 4 runs across 20 innings. The Cardinals should win this game, but this Cardinals team, I mean, what are they doing? You told me yesterday they take a perfect game into the 8th inning. Can't bet St. Louis is a 200 favorite, I'll tell you that much, but I'm not backing Greinke on the road. This is a game to stay away from. Maybe play the total, but who knows? What are you going to get out of St. Louis today?
Yeah, I know we're going to get out of Mikolas. He's turned the corner. Rough start to the season. He was just a good pitcher last year. Turned the corner. He's looked real good his last few outings. He beat us, actually, in his last outing. So I'm not going to buck him again. KC got their win of the series, I think, but obviously not laying this price. There's been a little more money showing up for Greinke. I can't bet Greinke on the road. If not for nothing, just the 6.66 ERAs telling me not to bet him. Coming off that win yesterday, I just don't think they'll have enough. But again, not laying St. Louis. St. Louis, they were ice cold. They were playing terrible baseball. They turned it around. They were on fire for a week and a half or so. And now they're back in the doldrums of playing 500 ball. You can't lay that price on the road. But I like what I've seen out of Mikolas the last few outings. He should shut down a weak-hitting KC team.
Then it's Rays at Chicago. Rays, road struggles right now. 3-7 their last 10 road games. So starting to have some of that regression after the crazy start this year. Still getting it done at home. Cubs with a 1-0 win yesterday. Great outing from Stroman. McClanahan versus Hendricks. I mean, McClanahan clears day pitching edge. 4 of his last 5 starts, quality starts. Last 2, 1 run, 14 innings, 14 Ks, 1 walk. This is Hendricks' second start this year. First one roughed up on his return, 5 runs and 6 hits, 4 and 1/3. And he had a decent outing versus Tampa last year, 2 runs and 4 1/3. It's a big number for a Rays team, just 3-7 their last 10 road games. But that pitching mismatch is just too drastic for me to look beyond it. Would be a slightest of leans to Chicago. Maybe you get Hendricks looking like a glimpse of himself in his second start back, but would not want to go against McClanahan, what he's doing right now.
Yeah, it's a big number, especially for how the Rays are playing on the road. Guys, again, if you had to beat the bookie member, all you got to do, go to the baseball ratings page, and you'll see the tremendous difference of home and away no better team than Tampa Bay. Tampa Bay, I've got rated a 127 at home, which is off the chart, insane. To give you an idea of what that number is, the Dodgers have the next best home rating at 107. So what that rating means is I expect the Dodgers to win 107 of 162 games if they would play 162 at home against an average pitcher on an average team. Okay, that would be their average amount of wins, 107. I've got Tampa Bay at 127 at home, but on the road, just 93. Now, 93 is great, but it's 34 wins less than I expect them at home. This is how important home and away is. Anybody that's giving you just a rating, that's not a rating. These are ratings, how we make our numbers. We take that 127 number if they're at home. Okay, so now we take the 93 number. We say, okay, how many wins above the average Tampa Bay pitcher is McClanahan going to give you? So let's call it 110, just to give you ballpark numbers. Okay, so we're at 110. And now we're going to get Hendricks pitching for the Cubs, but a pretty much unknown. But look, you've got Smiley there, you got Stroman there, you got Steele there, who've all been pitching great. So the Cubs number is 73. Well, you can't put Hendricks, if it was Hendricks from last year, maybe in that category, but he's going to produce less wins than the average Cubs pitcher. Let's just drop him down to 70. So if we do 110 divided by 70, we're looking at 157. Now that's the middle, okay? So you would say 157. So let's call it Tampa Bay 167, or if you had to add a couple to 170, and the Cubs take back is 150ish, and you're in there. That's how the numbers are made. Okay, just to give you an idea. There's no pulling numbers out of that. Then there's the spot. Does this team dominate this pitcher? How does this one pitcher on the road? We talked about the Red Sox, how they hit in Fenway Park, how they hit on the road. All of these numbers go in. This is not just picking straws. Okay, like all of these other guys do. All they're doing. Oh, of course the Dodgers are going to beat the Nationals. You're not a handicapper. You're guessing. You're one of the guys that when I was a bookmaker, I broke your hole on a weekly basis. You came and paid me 48 out of 52 weeks. That's what happened. But anyway, in this game, like Ben said, a little bit of a struggle on the road from McClanahan. Clear pitching edge over Hendricks, only his second game back. Got a little roughed up in the first one. Number may be a little high, but again, the line makers, they're not stupid. They know who is 90% of the public going to bet. They're going to bet Tampa Bay with the best pitcher pitching, the best team with the best pitcher. So number a little bit higher. I don't want to be on the Cubs, but if you want to pay to be on Tampa Bay, you got to pay the extra juice.
And last game on the card, John, Braves at Oakland, talking about having to pay for extra juice. Going to have to pay for extra juice against A's every night. They snapped the 11-game losing streak, though. They get it done last night. We talked about it yesterday, how horrible that spot was for Atlanta, and A's end up getting it done. Braves are now dropped 3 of 4, scoring 4.5 runs per game. They're 2-5 the last 7 road games. And, pick a stat category, and Oakland's at the bottom of it. So we can just go look at that. Pitching matchups, Elder versus Sears. One of the more impressive things about Sears' stats, he's pretty good at home, 0-0, 2.86 ERA in 4 starts. I know win-loss record isn't too crazy of a stats way to pitcher, but when you pitch for this Oakland A's team and you have a 0 in the loss column, that's pretty impressive. So for those of you guys who like first 5 bets, obviously those losses, it has to do with those first 5 innings. Maybe look at Oakland first 5 in these Sears starts with plus 1.5 runs, plus a half a run. Either way, though, I can't back Oakland twice in a row. They've only won 2 games in a row once this season. I'm not expecting them to do it against Atlanta.
Yeah, on a pace to not win 32 games. I'm not going to get overly excited. I'm not going to think that I missed Oakland yesterday. And I want you guys to listen to me clearly. Listen to what I'm saying clearly. It's Atlanta or nobody. And that doesn't mean I'm betting Atlanta, but there is no way in the world I want Oakland for the second game in a row. We talked about it. As I said, Ben told you how clear the spot was. It was as bad a spot as there possibly could be for Atlanta. One more time. Playing the Sunday night game. Traveling against the team that knocked you out of the playoffs yet and winning. Traveling cross country. A pitcher that hadn't pitched in 1,000 days. You don't get a spot like that. So in retrospect, say, how do we bet the Oakland? Because Oakland sucks. Terrible. Making matters to them today that they can't hit. Diaz has done great. He's done a great job. And you can say, wow, there's a little value there. But there's not. because the Braves absolutely crushed left-hand pitching to the tune of 312. They're going to be pissed that they got beat yesterday. Would be Braves or nobody. Obviously, I'm not laying that price, but I'm not taking Oakland.
Yeah, Oakland's on that no bet list. Guys, that is the Tuesday card. Obviously, we have NBA Finals starting on Thursday. We will be back tomorrow. If you guys have any questions or anything you guys want us to cover, if you guys want us to do any special segments for the finals, I don't know what you guys want us to cover, put those below. See the comments increasing on the YouTube videos. We do appreciate that. Please increase the comments, like, subscribe, do all that stuff. Help us grow. John, losing day yesterday, but hey, we won the prior 5. Like you said on the Instagram Live earlier, make that deal with the devil all day long, winning 5 to lose 1. And we'll see if we can get back on track today.
Sign the contract right now. Give me 5-1. Look, guys, all I want to do in baseball, if we're hitting 45% with the amount of dogs that we bet, we're going to win money. If we're hitting 50%, we're going to win a ton of money. And we were actually over 50% in the last 5 days. Prior to yesterday, tough loss. Don't cry about the losses. Part of the game. You can have a 3-run lead in the night and still lose the game. That doesn't mean anything. We didn't win. No excuses here. When we talk about it, we just explain. Like I think I was trying to explain something the other day on the Instagram, and guys started coming. God, don't come at me hard. I'm explaining. Like again, actually was today. I was talking about the Celtics Heat game, giving the stats, talking about what happened last night, and I got guys yelling at me on Instagram. Remember, all this information, these are guys that aren't even members. They're not paying. It's free information. Well, why didn't you tell us yesterday? If you knew all this, well, obviously I didn't know he hurt his ankle on the first play of the game. Well, Brown's going to have 8 turnovers. No. Celtics going to shoot less than 20. These are the stats I'm giving you after the game, so I'm just giving you the reasons why the game went that way. Of course, if I had a crystal ball and I knew, then I can tell you, slam the Heat, bet everything you got on the Heat. But, I love the guys that tell me after the fact that this was a lock. It was easy money. I knew it all the time. I would respect you so much more if you knew it before the time. Share your knowledge with me. Great. We'll make a lot of money together. But all that kidding aside, bet with an edge. Let's get that 45 to 48%. 90% of our bets are dogs. They've actually been a little bit more favorites lately, but still we're 80% dogs. We'll probably be more as the season goes on. Remember what I call it. Memorial Day just passed, the Memorial Day weekend. The summer's here. This is the dog days of summer. It's coming up. I plan on making a lot of money over these next few months.
If you guys want to join us in doing that, go to the How to Beat the Bookie website, howtobeatthebookie.com. Download the app. You can get that in the App Store, Google Play. Become a member. Keep on tuning in, guys. Keep showing engagement on the Instagram, on YouTube, comments, likes, all that. And, hey, John, let's make some money.
Let's make some money.